So the reason why I wanted a PowerPoint is I wanted to share something with you. Okay. So I wanted to share my churnings and my realizations the last few months. My first realization that I want to share, there's several realizations I have, but the first realization I wanted to share was that we are all one. That it sounds like such a cliche, but it really is true, this deep feeling that we are one. And the second realization I have is that Baba is constantly with us, that Baba is always with us. There's never a time he's not with us. And the third realization I have is that Baba is incapable of seeing our weaknesses. He just does not have the capacity to see our weaknesses. All he sees is our brilliance. He doesn't know how, he doesn't know how to see our weaknesses. So all he sees is our brilliance. And then the fourth one, and is the most important one, maybe, but all of them seem important. But the fourth one, and that is why I am, today's topic is based on my fourth realization. And the fourth realization is that all of us have a superpower. And Baba calls it a specialty. You could say it's your gift, it's a talent, it could be a virtue, it could be a power, it could be a jewel of knowledge that Baba shares, something. And that really is like a super ability. Superpower means like it's a super ability in the soul. Is everything okay? Am I talking slow enough? Yes. Okay. So is a super ability in the soul where you can, like power, right? Let's say someone has money. And so people say money is power, right? So what that means is they can do anything they want. They can get in a plane, go somewhere, they can quarantine, no quarantine, COVID, no COVID, they do everything, right? And so that is a power because they have an ability, they have a capacity that other people don't have. And so it's the same, you could say military power, you could say, like the United States has big military power, that means they can do anything they want with the military. Or so in the same way, each of us has a superpower. And that superpower is a virtue or a power or any of those, any a jewel of knowledge, whatever it is. And that power is really, if we harness that power, if we are able to really understand that I have that power and understand what it is and keep using it, I feel that will really make us fly, make us progress. And so the image you're seeing in front of you is a warrior. So that is a spiritual warrior. This one right here, this figure right here. And the spiritual warrior is slaying a dragon. And so today's workshop, we will get into what is the dragon and who is a spiritual warrior. Is that good? Sounds good? Okay. So a few years back, I wrote a book called True Hollywood Blockbuster. And when I was writing that book, I realized that There was this author called Joseph Campbell. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. He was a professor of comparative mythology here in the United States, very famous professor. And what he used to do is he used to compare ancient stories from around the world. So that's what he studied. He studied ancient stories from around the world. So he studied 1,000 stories from around the world. And in those 1,000 stories, what he found was that each of these are ancient, not new stories, but these are ancient stories. And in these 1,000, right, he found that they had common elements. They had 21 common elements. But instead of 21, I picked 8. 8, I condensed the 21 and picked 8 so that it's easy to understand. And so what he studied was, so each story, so when I'm talking about 1,000 stories, right, I'm talking about Inca stories, I'm talking about Mayan stories, I'm talking about Native American stories, I'm talking about African stories, I'm talking about Japanese stories, Greek stories, Indian stories like the Arjuna story, Ramayana story, like that, right? All of them. And so every story, can you believe it? He studied 1,000 stories and every story has these elements. So at least some of these elements. The story has at least some of these elements. And that is that there is a hero, and the hero has an ordinary world, right? The hero is going about his business in his world, and then he is called to action. He's called to do something. He's called, he has a calling, right? He has a calling. And so he has a calling, and then he accepts the calling. And then after he accepts the calling, he finds a mentor. So I'll give you an example with the Arjuna story. So in the Arjuna story, he's doing his business, and then you know what happens in the Mahabharata. And then he's called to fight in Kurukshetra. He's called to fight the Mahabharata, the war. And then his mentor, right? His mentor is Krishna. And then after he finds a mentor, he has to go through some tests. He has some friends, he has some enemies, all of that, right? He has to fight all of this. He has to overcome some tests, and he has to fight his enemies. And then after that, he has to face some very deep, big, dark enemy. We can call it the big enemy or the big foe. Foe means enemy. And so the big enemy he has to face, and then he fights that. And then when he conquers that big enemy, then there is transformation. And after the transformation, the hero has a gift. Hero gets a gift. And after the gift, the hero comes back with the gift. And that's his life purpose. And he comes and shares his life purpose in his ordinary world. So at any time, if you don't understand what I'm saying, you can ask a question. And so this is common elements of the story. And he called this the hero's journey. And when I first heard this story, I knew that this was our memorial. Why is it that 1,000 cultures from around the world, not just one, not just two, 1,000 cultures, any small culture, big culture, ancient cultures, 1,000 cultures have the same story, similar story, right? This very same similar story going on. And the reason why they have the same story is because they remembered, and it's a memorial of the confluence age. And so it's a memorial of the confluence age in that instead of physical dragons, like here we have a physical dragon right there, instead of a physical dragon or a physical war, what in the case of Arjuna, it's a war, and in some cases they have to fight a dragon. So what are these wars and what are these dragons? The dragon, the war, the enemy is of course Maya and Ravan. And so instead of spiritual things, they have manifested them as physical things and created stories. And so this is our memorial. This is our journey. When they say the hero's journey, which is a very famous. So what they did is they took this hero's journey, this elements of the story, right? They took that and they made movies. So pretty much all of the major Hollywood movies that are very popular, that have grossed, $500 million or so, all of them follow the same storyline. If you take Avatar, if you take Star Wars, any of them, any of the Marvel universe movies that are going on right now, all of them follow the same storyline. The location might be different. Like in Avatar, the location is in the future, it's in the moon, Pandora is somewhere in the moon, but it's the same storyline. In Star Wars, it's outside, it's not on Earth, but it's outside, but it's the same storyline. And so this storyline really is our story. And so this is our story. And so there's several things that I have learned from this story, which is our story, the hero's journey, which is our story. And so why is it our journey? It's our journey because we have done this before. Each of those things we have gone through in our lives, each of that we have gone through in our lives. And we have done this before and we can do it again. And so this is our story. And the other thing is we are all connected. And so the story is not just my story individually and your story individually, but it is our collective story also. And so we are collective heroes of this golden story, this golden drama, this auspicious drama. We are collective heroes. And collective heroes means that if I ascend, you ascend. If you ascend, I ascend. If you conquer Maya, I conquer Maya. If I conquer Maya, you conquer Maya. We are all connected. So have you heard about Indra's net? So Indra's net is this, in Indian mythology, there is a net, Indra's net. And so Indra's net is like a net, right? It's a net like this. It's like a fishing net, it's a net. And at the node of each net is a jewel. And so the net is big and there are many, many jewels. And if one jewel starts sparkling somewhere, then all the other jewels will sparkle. So one jewel reflects all the other jewels. So all jewels reflect all the other jewels. You understand what I'm saying? So we are like that. Each of us, Baba's children, are connected. And not only are we connected, if I sparkle, you sparkle. If you sparkle, I sparkle. If we all sparkle, so each of us, right? So each of us have a common sparkle, but also each of us has this very special facet of the diamond, very special, which is our superpower, which I'll get into it in a minute. And so what happens is whatever happens to me in my story is universal. And whatever happens to everyone, whatever happens universal, is also my story. That is why the hero's journey is our story. So the personal is universal and the universal is personal. And the other thing which is very important, one of my deep realizations lately, is that there is really nothing to fix. I don't have to fix you. You don't have to fix me. I don't have to fix myself. I don't have to fix anyone. All I have to do is I have to wake up from the nightmare. I have to wake up from this very bad dream, which is totally controlled by Maya. And when I wake up from this Maya, this dream of Maya, right? This nightmare that we call Maya, when I wake up, when I truly wake up, then there is no fixing. There is no, oh, this is what I have to do, that's what I have to do. All I have to do is I have to wake up. And that is why it's so important to understand this story. Because when I understand my story, when I understand the elements of the hero's journey, then I can wake up from the nightmare. And so Mahavir, right? So all of us are Mahavirs. So monomyth means a single story. So the single story of the spiritual warrior. Like I said, there is an ordinary world, there's a call and refusing the call. So, when we are, even in Brahmin life, when we are asked to conquer some kind of Maya, if we refuse to do it because of laziness or whatever, carelessness, then that is also refusing to do it and meeting and accepting the mentor. In our case, of course, the mentor is Baba, and crossing and facing the enemies and tests and the transformation. And then there's this big dark Maya. So all of us have to face this big dark Maya on our own. I'll get into that later on. And then we come back with the reward, and then that is how we serve the world. The one thing you have to understand is, if I am lazy or if I am careless, then I refuse to become a Mahavir. And when I refuse to become a Mahavir, what happens is, if I refuse to go on this journey, and if I refuse to go on this journey, what happens is there is no gift. If I want a gift, then I have to go on the journey. I have to become a Mahavir and go on the journey.
Shireen, sorry, the translator is requesting you if you can speak a little bit slow.
Okay, sounds good. And so, when Baba says,
Thank
if
you.
I, if you take one step and I will give you 1,000 steps. These are exactly Baba's words from the Murli. For every elevated thought you have, I will give you 1,000 elevated thoughts in return. So let's say if I have one elevated thought, then I get 1,000. If I have half an elevated thought, then I get 500. If I have 1/4 of the thought, then I'll get 250. And if I don't do anything, 0, then I get 0. And so if Baba is willing to give something, but he's asking us to do just one so he can give a return of 1,000, and if we don't do that, then there is no gift. So if I do not get on the journey, and if I don't become a Mahavir, Maya really is very tricky. The main things that make us not become a Mahavir is, first, the power to face. We we don't have the power to face, or we refuse to use our power to face, because we all have all of the powers, but we refuse to use the power to face. And the other reason is laziness and carelessness. And so anyway, so if I don't become a Mahavir, then there is no gift. If I want a gift from Baba, then I have to go on the journey. I have to get off my tushy. I have to stop, giving excuses, and I have to face Maya. If I don't face Maya, then there is no gift. And they are four things we really have to understand as a Mahavir. Four things. One is the soul. Two is Baba. Three is drama. And this is our drama, really. This is the drama. And four is Maya. If we don't have an understanding of even one of those four things, if we don't have an understanding of how Maya is coming to us, if we don't have a clear understanding of drama and the role we are playing, the absolute important hero role we are playing in the drama, and as Brahmins, Baba has said in many murlis, we have passed in love. So we understand Baba, we have passed in that. But understanding the self deeply, understanding the important role you're playing, understanding the drama, understanding Maya is very important. And if I don't do any of those things, then also that is why I am not understanding the gift, the reward. I am not able to grasp the huge reward that Baba is um, giving us. And I'm not talking about the golden age here, because the golden age is the golden age, but there is a reward in the confluence age. And we have to, as a Mahavir, we have to understand the reward, the huge reward of the confluence age. And the huge reward of the confluence age is Siddhi Swarup. Siddhi means, you could say, superpowers, and Swarup means you're the embodiment. So you have these siddhis, these superpowers. And if you don't accept, or you don't, if we, because of not understanding, because of not having awareness, because of not doing the effort we need to do, then we are depriving ourselves of these siddhis, which is Siddhi Swarup, and that is our reward. And so we need to understand what it means to be Siddhi Swarup, and what is that exactly the reward. We need to completely have a grasp of it, right? So much so that it's like, it should be so easy for us that it's like walking in from this room to the next room. That's how easy it should be. So, as a Mahavir, we have to light our own path. But just remember, when you're lighting your own path, you are a jewel that is going to reflect all other jewels. You ascend, everyone ascends. You start sparkling, everyone starts sparkling. And so we are all connected, and we are in this together. And the other thing is, there's this saying, right? The same soul, Joseph Campbell, he is the one who wrote the hero's journey, the hero with 1,000 faces, the one who did all the research on these different different cultures from around the world. He said, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. And so In this case, of course, the cave is spiritual, the treasure is spiritual, and the fear also is not like a physical fear of, oh, I don't want to go there. It's a physical fear of making effort. It's a physical fear of progress. It's a physical fear of really coming into our beautiful confluence aged role. The final period of the confluence age is upon us. In this final period of the confluence age, there is this beautiful role we all have to play. And if we fear that and we don't really step into that, then that is, we are missing out on the treasure. So, Mahavir, so as a Mahavir, I have to embrace my own journey, and not only embrace my own journey, but each of us, there shouldn't be a single one of us who doesn't accept. Each of us should accept that we are heroes. In this story is unlimited, Baba is unlimited, drama is unlimited. What that means is that there is no, like in a movie, no, you have one hero, you have one heroine. That's it, right? Two heroes at the most. But in this story, all of Baba's children are heroes. You're a hero, I'm a hero, because we are all reflecting each other, we are connected. And if we don't come into our own Mahavir, as that I am the hero of this drama is waiting for me. This whole, I call it the movie, right? When Baba says drama, that's what he means. It's a movie. This grand epic movie is waiting for me, the hero. And one thing you have to realize is that it doesn't help if we play small. If we do, oh, I'm just nobody. No, it doesn't help. We are Baba's children, and we have to accept that we are Mahavirs and we are heroes of the story. If I play small, there is no benefit for anyone. For us to really progress, for the whole story to progress, I have to accept, I have to embrace that this is my story. This is my journey, and I'm the hero of this story. And also, every time there's a challenge with Maya, with our own stuff that goes on. No, Maya is our own illusion and own vices and own story that's going on inside. Instead of accepting the real story, there's a different story going on in the head, that is Maya. And so every challenge, if I accept that every challenge is a step on the ladder that is taking me higher and higher into my eternal self. And this path to my purity, which is the highest level, every time I climb a ladder, I am going to my eternal self, which is my pure self. And that path needs a lot of courage. That is why we are Mahavirs, because it needs a lot of courage. Using the mentor. So, of course, Baba is the mentor. And Baba, I remember about 10, 15 years ago in a Sakar Avyakt Murli, Baba was saying, he was sweetly complaining. He was saying, all of you children don't use me enough. And so we are not using Baba enough. And we are gold, right? We are diamonds, but there is a lot of alloy in the gold, and we have to remove the alloy from the gold, the soul. And so that is why Baba is so essential, to remove the alloy. And the other thing, remember I said one of my deep realizations is that Baba is only seeing the highest soul. He is not seeing any of my weaknesses, any of those things. He's not seeing that. He's only seeing the highest. And the other thing is we need the Murlis. So the Murli really is that spiritual knowledge. We need spiritual knowledge, and we need knowledge that comes from Baba. Yes, it's nice to have knowledge that comes from everyone else, but we need the knowledge that comes from Baba, because that really helps us go across this big, you could say, this ocean of poison that we have to cross. And another realization is Baba doesn't have any favorites. He loves each of us and he loves us equally. He loves Dadi Janki the same as he loves Akash Ben, as he loves me. He loves everyone equally. But how come Dadi Janki had so much intoxication and so much love for Baba? Because she was aware of it, because she understood Maya and she stepped away from Maya. And because of that, she was able to take more love from Baba. But Baba is giving equal amount of love. And so tests, right? And the tests is we have to, every one of us as Mahavirs, we have to. If if you say I'm a Mahavir and don't face a test, then why are we a Mahavir? Right? We have to have tests. So tests are there, challenges are there. And so one of the things that I always like is this, there was this spiritual person here. He died, and maybe some of you know him. His name was Wayne Dyer. And he used to write spiritual books, not Baba's Child or anything, but he was a very famous spiritual teacher here in the US. His name was Wayne Dyer, and he used to say something, and I really liked what he said. He said that if you squeeze an orange juice comes out. So my question is, if you squeeze an angry person, what happens? Anger comes out. If you squeeze an angel, what happens? Good wishes and pure feelings come out. And so one of the mistakes we make is we focus on the person squeezing. We don't understand that if there was no anger, anger wouldn't come out. If there was no disheartenment wouldn't come out. If there was no, low self-respect, all of that, if it wasn't there, it wouldn't come out. But we are more focused on the person squeezing. We are focused on the messenger. We are not focused on the message. We have to focus on what is coming out, not who's squeezing or not the situation that's squeezing, but we have to focus on what is coming out. Because if I focus on what's coming out, then I'm a Mahavir, because I can face this is what is coming out, this is what is in me. If someone comes and says something nasty to me and I get angry, I shouldn't focus on the person saying nasty things to me. I should see, why am I getting angry? And if I focus on the message instead of the messenger, then that is when I become a Mahavir, a brave warrior. And a brave warrior, Mahavir, understands that there's cleansing, and like any cleansing, it gets worse before it gets better. And also, as a Mahavir, we have to go beyond societal expectations of what society wants us to do. And as I mentioned before, as a Mahavir, we have to overcome our laziness and carelessness. So transformation. And so for transformation to really happen, we cannot look at the past. That's a whole topic separately about really being in the moment. That is an amazing feeling of just being in the moment. I have a challenge for you. I want you to see how often and how long in an hour can you just be in the moment, in the present moment? You're not thinking about the past. You're not planning for the future. You're not thinking, oh, this soul will come to the center. I have to do this. No, you're just in the moment. And to be in the moment is you have to be your eternal self, your eternal soul. If you're eternal, if you remember your eternal soul, if you remember the eternal drama, and if you remember our eternal Baba, then you can be in the moment. In today's Murli, Baba said something very interesting. He was saying that an inaccurate action is also a vice. And so all vice really is about when we are actions which are totally influenced by the past, feeling guilty, regrets, or totally influenced by worrying about the future and what I want and this and that. And so this idea of just being in the moment, and that is transformation. And the other thing is for transformation to happen, there has to be discipline. If there is no discipline, there is a lot of deception. To overcome to not being, for us, for me, let's say, I'm giving myself as an example. If I don't want to follow a discipline, then I will give a million excuses of why I don't want to do it. And so there's a lot of self deception. So you either have spiritual deception, discipline, or self deception. You can't have both. And that when you have spiritual discipline, that is when there is transformation. And we have to have discipline to keep seeing our elevated form. We have to keep seeing it again and again and again. And when Baba talks about perfection, no, for me, perfection is a habit. Perfection is something that we constantly do. Perfection is not this strange thing that it happens some other time in the future. No. If I constantly, let's say in this moment, if I constantly have good wishes, pure feelings, I'm aware of myself as a soul, I'm aware of all of you as Baba's children, souls, all of that, then that is perfection. Because, and if I keep thinking that, and if I create a habit out of that, then that is perfection. And that is transformation. Um, I have a question. Till when do we have? I forgot to look at the timing. Akashben,
Yes.
when do we finish?
Uh,
Please repeat the timings back to me.
until 5:30. Your 5:30.
Okay, I thought that. Okay, so we have a little bit of time. So I'll do this. And so the other part of transformation is we have a lot of limiting beliefs, right? And Baba calls that bhakti sanskaras. They're very limiting. They're very narrow-minded thinking we have. So transformation really is about breaking that, breaking those limiting beliefs, breaking those narrow-minded thinking we have. And it's about sacrificing body consciousness and sacrificing our ego and really stepping into our sovereignty. And the story, no? So each of us is the hero of our story, right? We are not just the protagonists of the story, we are heroes of the story. And in any story, in any good story, how does the story progress? The story progress when the hero realizes something, the hero has transformation, then the story progresses, right? Then the next story, part of the next part of the story. If I don't progress, if I don't move the story forward with my spiritual transformation, then I am not only holding the story back for myself, but I'm holding the whole drama, the whole grand epic movie, I'm holding it back. And so we have to understand this greatness that each of us are great spiritual beings. And our roles are great, the greatness. And this is that search for greatness. So it doesn't help to say, oh, I'm not great, I'm not this. No. And that is not humility. Humility means that you not only accept your greatness, but you also understand that every single thing that we have is coming from Baba, is used for Baba, and is used in Baba's task. And so, but we have to accept that. If I say, oh, no, 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 I'm great, but that's not humility. We have to accept that we are great and each of us have a very, very important role to play right now. And so all of this happens, no? I feel that as a Brahmin family, and I said, my story is your story is my story. And collectively, we are each having to face one of our biggest enemies. It could be fear of losing a relationship, fear of losing our own body, getting sick. It could be if I have a sanskara of discontentment, it could be that, or a sanskara of depression or disheartenment, it could be that. Sanskara of feeling stuck, it could be that. But each of us we have to face this enemy. It's one of the biggest enemies we are having to face individually. And this is something where each of us are facing, but each of our enemy, individual biggest enemy is different. And we have to face this alone. And so this is when we have to use the power to face. The power to face is absolutely essential right now. Don't give up. Don't say, I'll do it later. Don't say, oh, I have to tolerate this and that. No, I have to face, and I have to face it now. And one of the things you have to realize is that you are much stronger than you realize. Much, much stronger. And this is what is going to lead me, lead you, lead all of us to our pure selves, and overcoming this big enemy, right? This biggest enemy that we are having to face, overcoming that is what will make me a master. So from just the protagonist of my story, so all of us are protagonists, right? We are all protagonists of the story. From protagonists of the story, we have to become heroes. And from heroes, we have to become masters. And from masters, we have to become self-sovereign. And so we have to become masters. So lighting our own path. Lighting our own path, even though I said, there is nothing to fix, but we need to understand two things. What are our flaws? What are our weaknesses? And what are our fears? If I shine a light, have you ever seen cockroaches? As soon as, if there's cockroaches in a room, right? You go into the room and put on the light, the cockroaches run and they run away. And so I feel that when you shine a light, when you face and say, that is my fear and that is my weakness, I accept, I know it is Maya, I know it is not me, it's an external thing that has happened. When I shine a light and when I face it, that is when I am lighting my own path. And the other thing is, the lighting our own path is when I stand up for what I believe in. And in this case, there are only two things that we have to stand up for. If I truly believe I'm an eternal soul, If I truly believe I'm a child of the supreme, the almighty authority, if I truly believe that, then I have to stand up for it. I have to stand up for it. I have to become a Mahavir, and I have to face whatever Maya that comes. And lighting our own path also means that I don't use one power more than the other. So I feel the power to tolerate and the power to face are yin and yang powers. Yin and yang powers means that the power to tolerate is a feminine power and the power to face is a masculine power. And if I don't use both of them equally, if I just use tolerate, right? Oh, yes, I have to tolerate, I have to do this. I am not facing. I have to use both equally. And so just remember, nothing is too fearsome. We are not alone and we can cope with anything. And like any situation, right? Any situation, just invoke the powers to tolerate and face, and that situation, however bad that situation is, we will find a solution to it. And so, what are we facing? We are facing our illusion, we are facing our ego, our greed. Greed is a very big thing nowadays. Our lust, our attachment, jealousy, fear, anger. So, all of these, this is what we are facing. And a few days ago, Baba said this in the Murli, is when do you receive power? You receive power as soon as your intellect. Your intellect means your awareness and understanding and your wisdom. As soon as your awareness, understanding, and wisdom is connected to Baba, as soon as your buddhi is connected to Baba, you start receiving power. So you want power? Awareness, understanding, and wisdom, we connect the soul to Baba and we start receiving power. And Baba had many times in the Murli said, if there is animosity, there is fear. If we love everyone, there is no fear. So lighting our path means there's absolutely no fear. As a Mahavir, we keep moving forward. And Baba has many times said, no, Nischay Buddhi Vijayanti, or a faithful intellect leads to victory. And so first faith in God. And faith in Baba, we all have faith in Baba. But one thing we have to understand is this is Baba's task. This is not my task, it's Baba's task. My life is for Baba. We are surrendered to Baba. Wherever we are living, we are surrendered to Baba. Our life is for Baba. This is Baba's task. This is Baba's body. This is Baba's house. This is Baba's time. This is Baba's mind. This is Baba's intellect. Everything is Baba's. If I don't surrender like that, then ego comes. And then because of ego, there's a competition, there's jealousy, then everything else that happens after that. And the other thing is, when we are little children, we need our parents. But now Baba needs us. That's why it's not good to play small. Don't say, oh, I'm just this little Kumari somewhere. No, you're a hero, you're a master, you're a self-sovereign. Baba needs us. He needs helpers. He needs companions. And the other thing is, I'm not alone. You are not alone. And just keep remembering your aim. Our aim is to return to our full purity. And anger and laziness and ego and fear and greed, they all really need to leave us right now. Don't entertain Maya. Don't give any kind of hospitality to Maya. They need to leave. And So remember, I said we all have a spiritual power. We all have a spiritual power. So we all have a superpower. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, I want all of us to take a few moments, and I'm going to have a few, what do you call, practice things in a minute. But the first practice I want to do is I want you to take a moment and I want you to think, what is your gift? What is your specialty? What is, it's spiritual, of course. Specialty doesn't mean I know how to cook, right? That's not spiritual. I mean, it's wonderful. Everyone knows there are a lot of chefs who know how to cook better than you. So that's not it. It has to be a virtue or a power or a point of knowledge. So what is that one thing of yours that is special to you? So take a moment now and uh, think about that. All right, let's move on. And so, what is faith? Remember, faithful intellect. With faith, we can become victorious. Faith really is trust. We have to trust in the powers. We have to trust in the virtues. We have to trust in Baba. We have to trust in love. We have to trust in the body. We have to love the part we are playing in the drama. We have to totally love the part we are playing in the drama. Even if it's a part of external crying, no, that is not the part. That is just the external role. Our eternal part is that we are heroes of this story, heroes of this drama, and we have to love our part. So, practice one. So, we can do the practices, or do you want me to ask questions and then we come to the practice? Or let's do this one practice and then we'll go back to questions and then we can come back to. I have 5 practices. So the first practice is from Dadi Janki. This practice, one time when I was in Madhuban, she gave a class and she gave this. She was saying it in class and I did it and I felt so good. That when we breathe in, right, we have to connect the breath to love. And in this case, each time you breathe in, you acknowledge how much you love this body that is doing service with you, the soul. This body is so valuable. It has been with us. It is such a valuable body. And let's give it love and breathe in love to the body. Just breathe in deeply and just give love to the body. Just appreciate the body. Be grateful for what it has done for you for so long. Om Shanti. So now You have any questions before we do the other practice sessions?
Hermana Nelly, ¿tenemos preguntas?
Yes, Shireen, here it says is um, it says yoga is important for self-transformation. Does self-transformation happens through yoga? Does transformation, this part that you were speaking about, no? Transformation takes place through yoga?
Is that a question? I didn't understand the question. The question is, does transformation take place through yoga?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes, yes, but also knowledge. Murli also is very, very important. You cannot have yoga without the Murli. I'm not talking about any knowledge here. That's why I keep mentioning the Murli. The Murli is very important. And so, yes, yoga it helps you transform. Murli helps you transform. Renunciation, renunciation helps you transform. Uh, seva helps you transform, and yoga helps you transform.
Another question, it says, how to love drama with all these degraded sins?
Okay, whose degraded sins, ours or other people's? Or the drama itself is degraded, you mean?
She only wrote like that.
Okay, so I'll assume that she is meaning that drama is degraded, like a lot of degraded things are going on, right? And so the drama is not just right now, no, the drama is not just the end of Kali Yuga. The drama is eternal. Along with the soul, supreme soul, the third, only three things are eternal in the world. The soul is eternal, or all of us souls are eternal. The supreme soul is eternal, and drama is eternal. And in this eternal drama, we shouldn't just focus on one aspect of it's like out of 5,000 years, we are focusing on, let's say, 25 years or 50 years. That is less than 1%. We are focusing on 1% of the drama. We have to focus on the 99% of the drama. And that's when we have to focus on the whole drama, the whole story. And that's when we have love for drama.
Next question, how to love my body and at the same time be detached from it?
I feel that many times we are so afraid of attachment that we go to the other extreme. And so we have to make sure, that we are not, because of detachment or because of saying, oh, I have to be detached, we are being indifferent or we don't like something. And so the body is something where is very, very useful. And it's our companion. Why wouldn't you give it love? And don't worry about attachment. If you remember Baba, if you remember you're a soul and the body is your companion, then it's pure love. And pure love comes with detachment. You will automatically be detached because of the practice you're doing of being a soul in the body. Only when we are totally body conscious does attachment to the body happen. But when I realize I'm a soul and this body is a gift from Baba, it's a gift from drama, it's there to help me move forward, then there is nothing but pure love for it.
And one more question. It says in today's Murli, it said, don't allow anything lacking on adopting all types of purity for yourself and for others. How can you say something about this point? Don't allow anything lacking on adopting all types of purity for yourself and for others.
What Baba means is that we have to reach our complete pure stage. That don't miss out on anything, no? Don't keep something hidden and say, oh, I'm not going to do that aspect of purity or this aspect of purity. Thoughts, words, actions, mind, body, well, my everything is pure. But also, we should start somewhere, right? And so little things we have to start. Whatever little understanding of purity there is, that is what we have to keep practicing. Practice, practice, practice. We keep practicing, and then the other aspects of purity will also come.
Okay, those are all the questions.
Okay. So we do the 4 more practices?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we did practice 1. Practice 2. So when inner demons, so dragons, such as limiting belief, cynicism, addiction, or a bad habit, when they come into my life, we have to slay these demons with 2 awarenesses. One is I, soul, use my right to God's power. I have a birthright as Baba's child, and that birthright is God's power. And 2, the drama. I'm the hero of this drama. I will become the master. I will become a self-sovereign, and it will end in my victory. So take a moment, and I want you to accept these 2 awarenesses. Just breathe them in, and just remember, you, soul, have right to Baba's power. All of you souls have a right to Baba's power. And the second thing, the drama is such that it will bring you victory. The drama is designed, the eternal drama is designed for your victory. It's embedded in the drama that we will all be victorious. Practice 3. And so, if we have enemies, then there is fear. If we love everyone, then there is fearlessness. And a Mahavir is always fearless. So if we want to be fearless, we have to love everyone. First, I shouldn't be afraid of anything or anyone. And 2, we have to ask ourselves the question, how much love do I have for everyone? And if there is, just ask yourself this question, how much love do I have for everyone? Be honest. You don't have to tell anyone your answer, but be honest with yourself. We have practice 4. To be good with those who are good is common, but to be good with those who are not so good to you is known as being a Mahavir. So invoke a person or situation and face it or them head on and give good wishes and pure feelings. So invoke a person or situations where they are putting challenges into your life. They are not being nice to you. Invoke, or the situation is not being nice. Invoke that being in front of you and give good wishes and pure feelings. Next. Become a Mahavir and begin to challenge Maya. Consider it your right to be victorious. So take a moment now and bring in front of you a weakness you have. It could be doubt, it could be disheartenment, it could be depression, it could be cynicism, it could be anything. And I want you to face it. I want you to understand that it's there, it's not who you are. Originally, you're a pure, elevated soul. But Maya is here, and face Maya. And understand that you are an eternal soul who's a hero of the unlimited drama, and step away from that Maya. So we'll come back to the essence in a minute. Om Shanti.
It was very interesting too because I have heard this. It's very inspiring, this cycle of the part. But today I have a question. Like at the end, you said that there is going to be a big Maya, and you said that you are going to explain more about that. What is that big Maya that we will have to face? Because every day we face many small Mayas, and some of them are big. Today, Baba spoke about laziness and carelessness, and you spoke about that. But what is that big Maya that it's going to bring us?
Each one, Marianne, is going to be different. It's called usually in spiritual circles, not in Baba circles. Baba circles, it's called the Big Maya, of course. But in spiritual circles, it's called the dark night of the soul. And the dark night of the soul is different for everyone. For me, it could be one thing. For you, it could be one thing. So let's say for someone, it could be an illness of the body, a big illness of the body. For someone, it could be death. For someone, it could be ending of a relationship. For someone, it could be displacement from their role, from their center, separation from family. It could be something, but something, it's the dark night of the soul, and each of us has to go through this. So I don't mean to be the bearer of bad tidings. I mean, I don't want to tell, oh, say this is going to happen to everyone, but we have to be prepared. No, we have to be Mahavirs, and we just have to be prepared, and it's going to be different for everyone.
And do you think that we are ready to face it?
Yes, it could be. Could be. If you see Dadi Janki's life, no, so many times she had to face big things. Even let's say the fact that she used to celebrate her birthday on January 1st. That was not when Dadi was born. Sometime in the 90s, I remember, I'm sure you remember too, from the 90s, so many, even before that, we had to send a lot of love and good wishes for Dadi's health all the time. And so sometime in the 90s, she died, almost died, where even Sister Moini Didi and everyone, they went to India and all of that. And, she was ready to leave. And then she got a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth lease on life. And so that would have been the dark night of the soul for Dadi, right? I mean, some things she had to do on her own, and she came out of it. And so I always feel that if Dadis have to face something, even we have to face it. The spiritual life is like the same. If you have a course, right? If you have a marathon, and first part of the marathon you swim, the second part of the marathon you go through a jungle, third part of the marathon you go do something, you have obstacles you have to run over or jump over, whatever. It's the same course for everyone. Physically, spiritually, it's the same course for everyone. Physically, the story might be a little different here and there, but we all have to go through those. Each one has to go through those.
Thank you.
Oh, and the other thing we have to remember is not only each one has to go through those, is the more we delay it, the longer it takes. Because let's say Dadi Janki, right? She had to go through this with the body, test with the body. She passed and she came out, and, she came out as this master of matter. And, or it could be laziness or carelessness, whatever it is, very fast they come out of it. And if we keep postponing, we're just postponing the inevitable, because we have to overcome this. No one is going to come do it for us. We have to overcome it.
Woman of wisdom, woman of power, woman of strength, woman of grace, lioness of courage, she who spins and weaves and cuts the way, she who occupies sacred space, she who spins and weaves and cuts the way, she who occupies sacred space. Stand up, Shiv Shakti, take your stage. Stand up, Shiv Shakti, calm their rage. Stand up, Shiv Shakti, turn